What is it like growing up on St. Paul? I mean, I love it. I was born and raised here. Yeah, I personally love it here. I don't think will ever move from St. Paul.
St. Paul is a character. St. Paul will always be a character in my story.
You're out in the middle of the Bering Sea and all of a sudden there's an island with really cool wildlife, birds, fur seals, and then there's people on the island that, you know, have lived here for a long time and are tapped into the island itself. So
the acronym BRAIDED stands for Building Research Aligned with Indigenous Determination, Equity, and Decision Making. And what that ultimately means is that we're trying to build research projects that are interweaving multiple ways of knowing. So braiding together very valuable and hugely informative knowledge systems like Indigenous ways of knowing, Indigenous values, with more Eurocentric Western approaches to understanding the world. So it's really about kind of flipping this whole model about how research is done in a way that's bringing together these diverse perspectives.
Subsistence food would be sort of the food from the environment, right? The food from the ecosystem around you, food that you work for.
Yeah, majority of us locals, we need that subsistence food, whether it's seal, sea lion, reindeer, birds. Yeah, there's a lot of people that rely on it.
Yeah, I think it's important culturally to the whole community, basically from one generation to the other. You know, you learn from your great-grandmothers, grandmothers, your own mother, your own father.
If those resources are now challenged also by environmental factors like climate change, if they're being exposed to more contaminants or mercury, that creates a food safety concern, which then translates up to a food security concern.
Ultimately, the work is sort of centering on knowing whether or not the food is safe to eat with regards to mercury concentrations. You know, we've always monitored with our eyes. We've always seen what's going on. We watch the harvest, we count the seals, we know all of those pieces. Braiding that with the ability to monitor the unseen, like the contaminants that are in the tissues, is huge. Now we have all of these pieces of information coming together to give us a better picture of what's going on with the seals, but also what's going on with the food that is being consumed by community members.
Stage 2 of this braided project has really been about piloting this vision of having a flipped citizen science model. So that includes getting a workstation set up within the Bering Sea Research Center where mercury can be analyzed. It also includes training of local tribal community members to be the ones operating and running and organizing that entire analysis process. And it includes outfitting a new data dashboard in the Indigenous Sentinels Network app so that the data can be brought back to the community.
right now it's a space that's getting filled up with instrumentation and equipment so that the community can do their own science on the island. Now we're obviously starting with a few key pieces of instrumentation. Number one, the mercury analyzer, so people can analyze mercury in traditional foods, but that's really just a jumping off point. In the future, people can do all kinds of different research projects, and it really depends on what the community wants. So I think it's a space that they get to define themselves.
Tribal member, a longtime colleague, Dallas, is getting trained to lead this work and help the community gather data. That's really important.
A lot of this is trying to reduce the delays between data collection and information sharing. And so when we're talking about equipping communities with how to do that, there has to be a kind of a data management backbone for the project. And what ISN is doing is providing that backbone. So it's making all of this information and database to help also build out a long-term baseline for us that can help us inform environmental management decisions or decision-making related to food safety, while also considering the health benefits of traditional foods and their importance to our community.
I think what's unique about the project is that we're actually sort of working ourselves out of a job in that way and actually helping to create something on the island where people can do the analyses themselves, and that empowers them to do, take their traditional foods and the food safety into their own hands.
So I think in terms of hope for the future, This is one project on one island that's hugely important to the people of St. Paul Island, but I'm really excited about how this could expand and scale out to either be replicated in other communities that want to address similar questions, or how it could just be networked out and maybe communities can come to St. Paul now with their questions instead of having to kind of always get funneled to a university partner directly. And being able to bring in more diverse voices and people that have different perspectives only makes the research stronger.
And they do like 30 years.